Have you ever felt like traditional self-improvement frameworks or business coaching models just kind of barely scratch the surface? Well, the source material we're unpacking in today's explainer offers a completely different and frankly mind-blowing paradigm. It's called the Psychotech Human Operating System Strategy Blueprint. We aren't just looking at a few scattered marketing tips here, no way. Instead, we're diving into a fully integrated framework that spans from positioning and go-to-market strategy all the way down to product management and content creation. It is a true strategic powerhouse. So let's jump right into it. Here is the roadmap for how we're going to unpack this blueprint today. First up, the Psychotech ecosystem. Second, positioning and category creation. Third, the 108 problems diagnostic. Fourth, building the content machine. And finally, the year one flywheel. All right, kicking things off with part one, the Psychotech ecosystem. So to create real, lasting change in human beings, you just can't offer fragmented, piecemeal solutions. Think about traditional coaching, wellness apps, or digital courses for a second. They're highly fragmented. They act like a Band-Aid, addressing at most one single problem. Maybe it's a course on productivity or a coaching program for fitness or an app for meditation. But the Psychotech Human Operating System, it takes a massive macro view. It targets the entire human architecture, recognizing that, hey, humans are complex systems. Fixing one isolated symptom without addressing the underlying structure is exactly why so many of us bounce from course to course without seeing any real lasting change. This ecosystem actually works because it attacks three foundational root causes of human suffering simultaneously: a broken identity, absent systems, and a disconnected purpose. Come on, we've all been there, right? Buying that brilliant productivity planner that just ended up collecting dust because our underlying habits, our actual identity, never really changed. Or maybe a program inspires a deep sense of purpose, but leaves you with absolutely zero daily systems to execute it. Psychotech attacks all three of these pillars at the exact same time. It's a fundamental architectural rebuild from the ground up, tackling identity, systems, and purpose as one unified front. Moving right along to section 2, positioning, specifically category creation. This right here is an absolute game changer. If you call your product a course, people automatically compare your price to other courses. If you call it coaching, they're going to compare your hourly rate to other life coaches. You instantly commoditize yourself. But an operating system, that is entirely new territory. You aren't just playing the existing game a little bit better. You are literally inventing a completely new game where you are the only player on the board. This framing elevates the product from a nice-to-have supplement into a foundational absolute necessity for a person's life. Okay, let's dive into section 3, the 108 problems diagnostic. Now, you might be wondering, how do we actually get people into this ecosystem? Well, instead of pushing hard sales copy at a potential customer, you just invite them to take a free diagnostic built around a 108 problems matrix. Psychologically, we humans are hardwired to trust those who can articulate our pain better than we can ourselves. By mapping out 108 specific problems, you can name a person's exact pain point with unbelievable precision. When you hand them back a personalized Psychotech problem profile, it makes the user feel profoundly seen and heard in a way that standard run-of-the-mill marketing simply cannot achieve. I absolutely love this profound strategic maxim. The diagnosis is the sale. You completely bypass the need for sleazy, heavy-handed sales tactics. Actually, scratch that. You eliminate sales tactics altogether. When a diagnostic report accurately describes a user's broken identity or absent systems better than they could even articulate it themselves, they just naturally assume you must hold the cure. Trust is established instantaneously. The heavy lifting of the sales process is done entirely through radical empathy and precise articulation of the problem. Which brings us to section 4, building the content machine. So it's one thing to have a brilliant diagnostic quiz, but you need traffic, right? That massive number right there, 108, represents the sheer volume of your marketing engine. 108 problems translates directly into 108 reels, 108 blogs, 108 podcast episodes, and 108 LinkedIn posts. Just let that sink in for a second. This completely removes the guesswork, the dreaded writer's block, and the daily anxiety of what you're going to post. The diagnostic matrix itself dictates exactly what content needs to be created. You just take one specific symptom and you build a dedicated piece of content around it across every single platform. Systematically, every single one of those 108 posts works incredibly hard for your business. First, it owns a specific search query, capturing people out there right now Googling their exact pain points. Second, it hits a precise emotional trigger because it's rooted in one of those deep foundational struggles. And third, it acts as a direct sales entry point, funneling the viewers straight back into that free diagnostic quiz. By consistently executing this, you're guaranteeing yourself a massive, evergreen library of content that constantly routes organic attention directly into the ecosystem. Finally, we land on Section 5, the Year 1 Flywheel. The Year 1 Flywheel maps out this beautifully simple, elegant cycle. It starts with the free quiz. Traffic takes the diagnostic and flows naturally into an educational webinar, which then feeds perfectly into a 90-day cohort to actually implement the system. As they go through this together, a tribe forms, generating powerful, genuine testimonials. Those testimonials then fuel more content, driving traffic right back to the quiz. And the best part? You don't need millions of users for this. Getting just 50 powerful transformations through this exact funnel creates enough momentum that the movement literally begins to sell itself. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to ask yourself, how will you apply this human operating system framework? Whether you're creating a product, a service, or launching an entirely new movement, moving away from those fragmented, single-issue solutions toward a holistic, category-defining ecosystem, it changes absolutely everything. You now have the blueprint to stop competing in crowded, commoditized markets and start creating your very own category. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep treating symptoms, or are you ready to fundamentally change the game?